Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that's reshaping how enterprises operate across Europe: Agentic AI and Multi-Agent Orchestration. We're particularly focusing on Amsterdam's emerging blueprint for 2026, because honestly, what's happening there right now is a preview of what the rest of the enterprise world is about to experience.
Thanks, Alex. And it's worth saying up front, this isn't about chatbots or incremental AI improvements. We're talking about autonomous digital coworkers that make decisions, collaborate with each other, and drive real operational change. The data backs it up. 74% of enterprises are now prioritizing agentic AI over raw generative capabilities. That's a massive shift in where organizations are placing their bets.
That stat really jumped out at me. So if I understand correctly, the difference between what we've been talking about AI doing and agentic AI is autonomy, right? A chatbot waits for you to ask it a question. An agentic system is actively monitoring things and making moves.
Exactly. An agentic system perceives its environment, reasons about what actions are available, acts without waiting for human approval on every step, reflects on the results, and adjusts. Think about a supply chain agent. It's monitoring inventory in real time, predicting demand, negotiating with supplier agents, adjusting orders. You only hear from it when something breaks. That's the fundamental difference.
So why is Amsterdam specifically becoming this epicenter for this transformation? Is it just because there's tech talent there, or is something deeper going on?
It's actually three things converging. You've got the tech talent, sure, but more importantly, you've got regulatory clarity. The EU AI Act explicitly defines requirements for autonomous systems, whereas other jurisdictions still have fragmented rules. For enterprises, that clarity is gold. You can build and scale confidently. Plus, there's genuine enterprise demand. Amsterdam and the Netherlands have serious organizations ready to deploy this stuff at scale.
That regulatory piece is interesting because it sounds like it could be a constraint, but you're saying it's actually an advantage. How does that flip work?
Because everyone else is still confused. Enterprises in the US or Asia are facing uncertainty about what they can and can't do with autonomous agents. EU companies know exactly what the rules are. Yes, compliance adds overhead, but that overhead creates competitive moat. Organizations that master EU AI Act compliance early will dominate their sectors. It's not a burden, it's a differentiator.
So let's talk about the multi-agent orchestration piece, because that seems to be where the real magic happens. One agent doing one job is useful, but multiple agents working together is something else entirely.
Right. A single agent has inherent limitations. It's a specialist in one domain. But when you orchestrate multiple agents, a compliance agent, a financial agent, a technical agent, each expert in their lane, coordinating through well-defined protocols, that's when you get exponential value. They communicate through what's called an agent mesh architecture, they coordinate through orchestration layers, and they handle failures gracefully. By 2026, multi-agent systems are expected to handle 60% of enterprise decision-making workflows that currently require human committees.
That's staggering. Human committees replaced by agent networks. But that brings us directly to the compliance question, doesn't it? Because if an agent network is making major decisions, there's real risk if something goes wrong.
Absolutely, and the EU AI Act takes that seriously. Many multi-agent deployments fall into high-risk categories, which triggers mandatory requirements. You need transparent impact assessments, audit trails, human override capabilities, data quality documentation, regular testing, evaluation frameworks, and incident reporting. Miss this, and you're looking at fines up to 30 million euros or 6% of global revenue.
So 30 million euros is not theoretical. Regulatory bodies are actually auditing these deployments right now across the Netherlands and EU member states?
They absolutely are. This isn't something organizations can put off. Compliance has to be architectural from day one. You need automated agent evaluation testing against regulatory thresholds, explainability layers, so every agent action is traceable, human-in-the-loop mechanisms that actually work. It's not a box to check at the end. It's baked into how you design and deploy these systems.
That sounds like it adds real complexity to implementation. What does a compliant agent architecture actually look like in practice? Are there SDKs or frameworks that make this easier?
Yes, there are emerging frameworks and SDKs specifically designed for compliant agentic AI. They provide abstraction layers for agent orchestration, built-in evaluation testing, logging and audit trails, and integration hooks for human oversight. The key is choosing something that's designed with EU AI Act compliance in mind from the ground up. Generic AI tooling won't cut it anymore.
And I imagine cost optimization is another big piece of this puzzle. Scaling autonomous agents can get expensive fast, right?
Precisely. Every agent needs compute resources. They're constantly running and making decisions, and if you're not careful, your infrastructure costs explode. That's where cost optimization becomes critical. You need to be strategic about agent design, parallelization, caching, and inference optimization. There's also the infrastructure piece, cooling systems, data center sustainability, the real cost of scaling responsibly. Amsterdam organizations are pioneering efficient agent architectures because they have to balance innovation with operational reality.
So for an organization thinking about implementing this, let's say a mid-market enterprise in Europe, what's the entry point? Do they need to go all in on multi-agent systems immediately?
No. Start with a single high-value use case, maybe supply chain optimization or compliance automation. Build it right with proper evaluation and testing. Ensure EU AI Act compliance from day one, and then expand methodically. Use that first implementation to understand your infrastructure costs, your talent needs, and what your evaluation framework actually looks like in practice. Then you can scale with confidence.
That's refreshingly pragmatic. So the blueprint here isn't go all in on agentic AI overnight. It's start smart, comply early, scale deliberately. That actually makes sense.
Exactly. The organizations that win in 2026 won't be the ones that moved fastest. They'll be the ones that moved smartly, that built compliant, well-tested, cost-optimized agent systems. Amsterdam enterprises are in a unique position because they have regulatory clarity, talent density, and customer demand. But the principles apply everywhere.
For anyone listening who wants to dig deeper into Amsterdam's blueprint, the compliance frameworks, agent SDKs, and real-world case studies, head over to EtherLink.ai and find the full article. We've linked to all the research, including that Microsoft and IBM study and the Deloitte report. Sam, thanks for breaking this down.
Always a pleasure, Alex. Agentic AI is one of those shifts that feels distant until it's not. Organizations need to start thinking about this now.
That's EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.